T1, they did their duty in doing the Aurora and Yone bans and threw in the Nico as well, as both Knight and Faker are very good on that champion, as well as on Keria, this flex pick. But I'm really curious, will they still ban the Nico once again?
I think it's Kalista. I think they'll take it away. I think it's proven to be too strong in this series, and I don't think they're going to allow it to go through.
Honestly, I agree with you. I just think that the Kalista is just such a powerful bot.
But we had the same conversation where it's a question of, do you trade Kalista for Jax? And then T1 couldn't find much success from the Jax pick, and BLG really made the Kalista work for them. Now they have to make the decision. The Kalista will be banned, but that does mean that in Game 5, Bin is going to get his Jax, and without hesitation, he immediately locks it in.
All right, are we going to get the Zeus Gragas, the Zeus Gnar, perhaps?
I mean, you have to trust in Zeus. He's shown that his Gragas is an effective answer into the Jax. I would call it an old school counter pick, but it's the one that Zeus has been leveraging throughout this World Championship. I don't think they need to lock it in now. They could grab themselves the Vi if they wanted to, perhaps even the Renata for Keria once more. They're hovering it.
Oh yeah! Locked in straight away. Bin lays down the gauntlet and Zeus immediately answers. Bin has only lost 3 times on his Jax this year. Twice against T1, once against Genji. Now we'll see if Zeus can stand in his way once again. T1 looking towards perhaps a Galio in the mid lane here for Faker. And it's going to be locked in as well, so they have a very tanky front line already. Gragas obviously has a big sustained tank, the Galio as well, which is pretty much unkillable unless you can manage to get ahead of him.
I'm honestly surprised to see the Galio locked in this early for T1, rather than securing something like the Xayah Rakan for themselves. They've chosen to go for it, maybe in anticipation of BLG potentially going for the Sylas, and knowing that the Galio can be an effective answer into it. Elk gonna get himself his Kai'Sa.
Ooh, we have to think they're gonna build more on top of this dive then for BLG. Yes, some strong side laners plus some dive.
It's just comfort. BLG are just saying, how comfortable can we be?
Oh my goodness.
Jax, we'll give Elk Kai'Sa, we'll give Knight Ari. That is the epitome of what BLG like.
How many legendary player champion combos are we gonna get in a deciding Game 5 of World Finals? Knight on his Ari, Bin on his Jax. Those very well, if they win, would be their skins.
I mean, Knight, he's world famous for his Ari. This World Championship hasn't had the best win rate for him, but you cannot afford to underestimate it. The Xayah going to be locked in for T1. You imagine that Rakan is going to rise in priority. BLG likely looking to ban that one away.
100% agree with you there. It just works too well with the T1 comp. Let's see. What will the bans towards BLG be here for T1 though, as we try and whittle down? I mean, possible jungle, yeah, possible jungle takeaways here for Shun.
I mean, if BLG continue down their comfort route, do you just get rid of something like the Rakan as well? Obviously, T1 kind of want the Rakan themselves, so BLG will remove it. In the end, no one's getting Rakan.
I'm thinking like the Vi is just such a no-brainer pairing with the Ari as well.
True.
But they do leave the Vi up there for Shun to take.
The Kindred ban is like, okay, we can see how much comfort you're drafting. We're not going to allow that.
Man, but Vi, I would even prefer a Vi over a Kindred if we're running Ari, plus we have lots of dive on our side too. The Renata, a no-brainer as well. Follow up to the Rakan ban there. Take away those 2 primo picks for Keria. Too good against dive.
I'm wondering if they put Ono on something a little more carry-orientated. I was thinking maybe Viego, but I don't love it. I feel like Vi does make the most sense. The Poppy into the Jax. In terms of damage though,
but it's so good at shutting down all of these carries that BLG are already
it's also
showing.
A flex pick. You can also put it into the support position so they can wait to see what BLG draft and then decide after that. Because you're 100% right, Kobe. Poppy and its ability to mitigate the dashes on the side of BLG is a very powerful pick for sure.
Ooh.
What's it gonna be, Shen?
Looking towards the Jarvan. Wait here with bated breath. It's locked in. Aggression, 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 dive, dive, dive from BLG.
It actually makes more sense. I was previously talking about Vi, but the Jarvan ultimate is better versus Xayah than the Vi ultimate is. So much better there. So really, really intelligent move.
On, likely deferring to another one of his comforts, the cheeky hover. Showcasing some confidence there.
There's the rel. I will say Poppy is really nice into this entire BLG lineup. The question is now, is the Poppy going to support? Will Keria be piloting it, or will Owner be the ones with his hands on it? It's synonymous with Owner to me. He has such a great record on this champ that my expectations are Keria is looking through his support pool right now, wondering where they go, but it seems like perhaps T1 want to flex it.
I mean, we talked about the damage, and I was a little bit worried putting all that damage responsibility onto Gumayusi. By bringing in the Xin Zhao, it does increase the amount of damage that they have. And we think about mid-jungles, it was kind of the story coming into the series about how Knight and Shun have been working exceptionally well throughout the bracket stage and finding advantages for BLG, and have really been playmakers when it came to the team fight. And Faker and Owner, a core part of the success of what makes T1 so good. Now, here in this game, those mid-jungle synergies are going to be crucial, as I'm expecting standard lanes. It's Zeus' Gragas versus Bin's Jax in the top side. Faker's Galio, a tried and true throughout his legacy, versus Knight, a player that is looking to make his name on World's history with his signature champion. We couldn't have asked for a more exciting draft here in Game 5.
100% I agree. Already just with the draft, I think that this is the most exciting game of the entire series from what we've seen. Both of them have capabilities of fighting those critical, important top-side fights around the grubs early on into the game. Xin Zhao plus Galio, such a good combo. The Jarvan plus the Ahri, also such a good combo. And we get Bin's legendary Jax versus Zeus legendary, I would say, Gragas at this point. He is 23-4 on the Gragas all time. Impressive stats, to say the least.
One last time we go to Summoner's Rift. One last time we see the defending champions battle against the first seed from the LPL. One more time we see these titans on the Rift challenge each other. One more time we see the weight of expectation so great on these two teams' shoulders. One more time.
And there's so much on the line for both sides. BLG getting some revenge for last year's World Championship as T1 made their way through every single LPL team. T1 looking to raise their 5th trophy. LPL and BLG looking to hoist the Summoners Cup. So much on the line, and a single game will decide it all. A standard line of scrimmage to start off the game. I keep my eyes on, pathing up towards the top side. A lane swap possibility seems very real. We were optimistic, we were hopeful for Bin versus Zeus, but it looks like we're going to be denied.
Yeah, looks like we are. The ward goes down in defense for T1. Sweeper comes out immediately, though, for BLG as they move in for that lane swap. Now we got to track, are they going to try and soak experience this time around for their level 2s to defend against these dives? Looks like Zeus just immediately going right down, and we'll head on through that mid lane once again.
Owner starting on his wolves right now. Keria spotting Bin out. Bin was trying to get to the wave to try and soak some of that XP, but couldn't get in range. Zeus has been able to get a little bit of XP out of mid as Knight is just catching that wave that Faker and Zeus will push forward. It's going to be a split map. Bin goes in with a counter-strike here. Tries to get into range for some of those minions dying. He didn't get any XP.
Yeah, look at that. It's that melee right there that was one auto away. He does soak a little bit now, though. I mean, every little bit. We're on pins and needles because of soaking experience and lane swaps. It's every little bit that top laners can get.
Note that Zeus grabbed XP in the mid wave and is now making a way towards top. On has path towards bot, preparing for the potential dive, knowing that the split map has come through. Zeus going to take a bit of damage, a lot of damage from Elk, but he's going to tick over to level 2, and he should be fine now on the top side.
And they should be able to defend this dive. On was able to soak his level 2 before heading down. There's so much CC with a Rel plus Jax. I think that
Elk's already swapping as well. So Bin's going to get level 2 here. We're going to farm this experience underneath the tower on there as well. Knight gets the charm onto Faker, has to flash the Justice Punch. Faker punching in the opposite direction to get that little bit of an extension on that E.
And it might seem weird that he would do that, but it's because he knows that Oner is on the bottom side of the map, and he hasn't showcased on the bot lane dive, meaning that he's in the jungle, and the possibility of him showing up mid is very real. Knight showcasing that respect, doesn't want to give over first blood. He's getting pushed underneath this tower, but his farm is doing just fine as Faker on the Galio continues his pressure in mid.
Meanwhile, once they do teleport Bin back to that top side, he should be able to soak up his level 3 as Zeus already pushed the wave. Zeus is going to get the first move, but Faker under attack.
Has no flash, Justice Punch gets hit, there's the charm as well, and Faker might fall first in the finals of the finals. Knight gets the kill, BLG find first blood.
The Jarvan Ahri strikes first blood here into, wait a second.
Elk has flash, has cleanse. Keria looking for that flank position, onto it to use the shadowing striking. Knight goes down and Elk flashes. You can see Keria trying to bait the early flash. They're on, just able to escape to the relative safety of the other side of that wall.
Another game, another BLG first blood. Finding it onto Faker, crucial, especially given that Knight did have to expend his flash earlier, but a good response from T1 as they lay in wait in the bot brush, ready to try and trap Elk. They couldn't convert it into a kill, but they do get his summoner spell. And look at this bot wave. It is very awkward, slowly pushing towards the bot lane of T1. They're going to require Jun to shadow in the lane to help them get that push out.
Exactly, he has to come all the way down here because Keria and Guma are doing such a good job just holding it. Meanwhile, topside, easy trading up there. The Jax into Gragas matchup is so much denial there for the Gragas. The phase rush for Zeus, easily able to hold them off. But here comes Shun, as you mentioned, came to shadow, make sure that they can move up to the wave.
Maybe going in, looking for the damage onto Zeus there. Relatively even top lane after obviously the first few levels were spent on opposite sides of the map. Very tiny gold lead for BLG. Faker again with a good Justice Punch to dodge away from the charm in mid.
Shun hovering around.
Yeah, it really cost Faker last time. Giving up that first blood, no flash on Faker. Pretty good movement so far from Shun, doing so much for his lanes, you know? Going towards Knight to make sure they can get their first blood, going towards bottom lane, make sure their wave is in a good state.
So you have to do on the Jarvan, right? It is a very gank-orientated jungler.
It does cost him in CS though, so this is something you're gonna have to keep track of. Just remember that Shun did a lot for his lanes. Now he's gonna try and catch back up though and see if he can full clear the rest of his jungle.
And, you know, you can sit there and go, oh, it's a shame that T1 didn't get that kill in the bot lane 2v2, but they still benefited massively. You look at the AD carry difference, and because of the farm that was denied from Elk and the wave that Gumayusi was able to catch, he finds himself with about a 200 gold lead. And now he paths back up towards top. T1 have done this consistently, ready for the grub spawn. Faker ticking over to level 6 very soon. Nice trade onto Keria. It's going to make this contest of the grubs very difficult for T1, but Oner has found an angle onto Bin.
Bin has the flash here. Oner dash forward with that audacious charge. Hits him with the Wind Becomes Lightning. There is the counter strike out from Bin. Oner happy enough to eat that. You can see the TP coming in from Zeus as well as T1 are bringing more members up towards the top side. Faker has the hero's entrance to come in from mid. On looks for the engage. The flash away is T1 disengaged for the moment. Oner jumping back in. There's the hero's entrance. Keria gets the slam into the wall. It's on. Almost falls. He gets punched by Faker. And now Bin and Shun have to escape. But Zeus does not want to let them get away. The explosive cast knocks them back in the end. T1 will win the fight.
In a series that has been so focused on grubs, in the game number 5, all 10 players show up, and it is T1 who get Oner's Poppy Slam into the wall on. They get the kill, they get the grubs, and they immediately get turret plate money.
T1, even though they conceded first blood, they set up for the grubs extremely well, and BOG got caught off guard.
You feel that, Vedius? That is a wave of T1 fans.
You look back at the replay, Oner walking into darkness, but he knows he has the support on, not quite connecting on the stun. It could have been crucial, especially with Knight right there for the follow-up. The Galio ulti comes in, the connection into the wall, and then Faker securing that first kill.
Yeah, and it's Keria Poppy this time around, of course. He's the one who got it, and the grub secured. T1 with the early game lead secured. The reason we're so focused on that is because you can balloon these gold leads so quickly, but Faker under attack!
does have the flash, will punch forward. Justice Punch coming out on, misses the crash down. The charm connects though, and the chase continues as Shun dives forward. Faker save the flash, and in the end will use it to dash out of Shun's engage.
I can't believe in a 4 versus 1 he's still able to get out. The charm doesn't quite connect. Knight though very healthy, able to get the push, means that BLG should be able to secure the first dragon of the game. They haven't actually set their sights on it. No TP available for Faker. I am a little bit surprised. The bot push is going to come through for Gumayusi, who has sticked over to level 6. BLG right now, resets come through. Elk making his way back towards bot now.
More turret plate money, more demolish procs, void grub passive.
See just the pressure that Faker's absorbing in the mid lane. T1 now using that to garner a 1.7k gold lead. Gumayushi's been picking up plate after plate. Ona now looking towards this bot side. Elk yet to hit the level 6, still half a level of XP away. Elk has to run, supercharges his way back in the lane.
I mean, the Xayah is just so far ahead here. 2 levels for Guma over him, not to mention all the extra gold, the biggest gold lead holder on the team. So much to know.
Oh, Keria goes in and down goes on. Keria turns him off. And the question is, will Elk stay around because he's still not at that level 6?
I mean, a masterful performance from Keria in the top lane grub fight along with this play in bot. He is just finding those angles for Poppy to connect into the wall. T1 find another kill, extend their gold lead to 2k, and they'll secure the first dragon of the game.
And it is a very tall task here for BLG to get Elk back into this game. Xayah is so weak early on, and being denied so much early into this game, it's going to be very hard for BLG to get their dive comp really online and get him scaling up into being a threat. Very far in the future, you're going to have to look before Elk is really a danger.
Knight felt the pressure of this position last year on JDG in the semifinals. It was T1 that denied JDG the Golden Road. Hoping to get revenge, he is one of the players that we will be keeping our eyes on as this game continues. His Ahri has been able to turn around some incredibly difficult games before. The pick potential is real, but right now Guma is just
going for it. Oh,
Keria with a good set pass present. TP coming in from BLG as they look
there he comes
to make the play. Spear rush forward by Knight, holding the charm, doesn't get stunned. The charm hits Keria. Flash forward with the counter strike. Keria falls first as Gumayusi brings the feathers back and almost takes down on. Ona caught underneath his own tower, but he will fall even in the cataclysm. BLG find 2. Guma's walking away wounded.
And just as we talk about him, he makes the play happen. 3 kills now for Knight. A fantastic TP to bring BLG back.
Speak his name and you will invoke the magic of Knight's Ahri. That just fully funded Malignance and the shoes upgrade. Lucidity acquired. That ultimate cooldown now for Knight will be so low. T1 though, looking back at the grubs, they want to get at least 4 for their Void Might spawn. Despite a really good play there from BLG.
I mean, yeah. The bot tower falling means that there's a huge wave as well. Knight forced to catch it, doesn't have the TP. Bin and Knight committing all of their summoner spells to make this play happening. The idea of shutting Gumayusi down is so important because of how much of a threat he is. Bin gets a nice flash, 2-person stun off, and they give the initial kill over to Knight. On's then able to disengage while Gumayusi does get away. Knight's able to secure the second kill as well. The kills in favor of BLG, but the gold still in the hands of T1.
So much pressure on the shoulders of these BLG players, and now even more so onto that of Knight, a player that is so well renowned in the LPL here, really looking to take that last step and acquire his first world championship. He is the richest player in the game on Ahri, such a playmaker. Can he do it?
That's the question that everyone asks themselves in moments like this as well. For BLG, it would be the first time they have won a world championship. For T1, it would be their 5th. Faker so often leads the charge. Now it's Knight who has to take the charge into his own hands. Keria looking with the sun into the wall, the TP coming in behind as T1 begin to draw out their battle plans. Faker looking for that flank, BLG disengage. T1 can't quite find the fight that they were looking for right now.
Baker doesn't quite realize he's sitting on a ward, but chooses not to overcommit to the play. TP's in ready for the action to kick off, but nothing too chaotic just yet. A minute and 15 until the next Rift Herald spawns. The bot lane has been completely abandoned. As T1 looking to now provide support for Zeus. See if he can push that wave underneath the tower. Keeping my eyes on the minimap. On has gone to reset, so it's BLG that'll be forced to concede for the time being. As T1 have numbers on the map, but On is quickly making his way towards top. Elk catching that wave in mid is crucial for him as he tries to close that gold gap between the two AD carries.
Galio ult is available here. Remember, for Faker, you have to be careful as BLG. T1 have that safety net.
Wave clear from Knight, though, coming through with the Malignance completed and level 9. The Q is going to be doing enough damage to help clear out those waves, but Gumayusi not slowing down, going to catch another wave as the resets now come through from T1. Dragon spawning in 55, the Herald in 25.
And again, the reason we're focusing so much on Knight, him getting all of this gold, is because Elk has been put so far behind in this game. It's going to be a while before there is another really big carry threat on the BLG side, and so Knight is their big threat of getting kills. Bin, of course, on the side lane is going to look to farm up and scale up some more money on the Jax, but that as well might take a while.
And typically, Zyra is a difficult AD carry to kill. Thanks to the feathers, thanks to the ultimate, but with a Poppy and a Gragas and a Xinjiao and a Galio, it's going to be even harder, and it becomes that question, as you highlighted in draft, Kobe, can the Jarvan actually lock the Zyra down? The flash is about to come off cooldown for Gumayusi. Both neutral objectives are alive. It's T1 that set their sights on the Herald, and they're going to be the ones to start this objective off.
Now they will begin it. They have the vision control around there as well. You can see Knight pushing in the bottom side, does have the TP. He's also the only gold lead on his team right now.
A few more seconds until Knight's TP is available. It looks like that they are just going to concede it as the bot side of the map becomes BLG's priority. Tier 1 going to be happy to secure the Herald and the top tier 1 as well. No one could really gain purchase on the mid wave as it's just cleared out by Elk and Zeus. But Tier 1 do have a tempo advantage here, and they're looking to keep the pressure on top side.
Top side objectives have been turned so quickly into tower gold during this series. They're looking to do it again.
Knight's still working his way through that bot side tier 1, will now take it, then TPs to try and save the tier 2 in the top side. Rift Herald was not put down by T1. They just disengage as soon as they see that teleport used, that investment from BLG. They'll happily take it. Zeus is catching the wave in the bottom lane, so T1 not losing any gold on the map either.
Yeah, BLG feeling like they need to invest Knight's teleport to deny that big influx of gold from one of those side lane secondary turrets to try and stop that snowball that has been so prevalent. Allows them to push right back out here for Bin, as well as Elk taking care of the wave in mid too. Some critical income for them.
One of the things we were very excited about coming into this game was Bin versus Zeus, but Tier 1 have actually put Gumayusi versus Zeus for the vast majority of this game. And remember that given that Elk has been so far behind, he's been either playing into the Galio or he's been playing into the Gragas. And Zeus has quietly built up a very healthy lead for himself. Just a few moments ago, he was about 1k gold ahead. Now that he's back out onto the map, he's spent that gold. And Bin yet to actually complete his first item. Let's see if this back will secure it for him. And there it is. So now the Trinity Force finished for Bin. He's going to feel a lot more confident as we get closer to these mid-game fights.
Still about 1,000 gold lead for T1. A Drake Capice, Hex Tech to T1, Infernal to BLG. The Grub's advantage as well with that Rift Herald in pocket means that T1 do have the pressure advantage on the map. If they want to push in like this, they'll take a tier 2 in the top side with 3 towers to 1 in their favor.
Yeah, I think BLG here, just keep Elk in mid lane here where it's nice and safe with your outer tower still up. Farm up with the Static Shiv on the Kai'Sa. Keep on farming till he can at least get his second item here. And then they can try and look to actually contest. Little cheeky steal away attempt here on the blue. Should be good.
You can feel the tension, 3-2 in kills. 2k the gold lead for Tier 1 after securing that top Tier 2. The fact that Elk still finds himself very far behind is definitely a point of concern, but in terms of XP, he's been able to accelerate, actually get ahead of Guma, because T1 have been playing so much around their AD carry to put pressure on the map. Base is going to be interrupted there by Keria, but BLG quite happy to play this game slowly for now. They're not in any real risk. The Baron is still 2.5 minutes away. What's crucial is that they get items on Elk and that he can have impact in these later fights.
Put pretty drastically behind in the early game. So the gold it fluctuates between about 1.5 to 2K between the two teams, which BLG will be happy enough with considering how the early game went. Faker lying in wait here to see if Knight oversteps. Knight just wants to push out the wave and then get himself back to base. Bin pulling the wave across a little bit here, but with the Counter-Strike he will just start to push this one towards T1 again with 2 minutes on the Baron and 2 minutes on the Cloud Drake. Expectation is everything will calm down over these next 2 minutes until we start to see that vision play begin to be established for the neutral objectives.
Yeah, BLG doing their best to clear out the deep vision that was left behind by T1. Whenever you're retaking the opposite side of the map, you have to be so careful clearing out those wards. So they are good at getting off these very quick flank plays. Herald used for that Prowl mid. Charge won't be enough to take the whole tower, just a nice little chunk there, soften it up.
Bin does have a tower in that top lane that he can start to pressure towards. You can see Zeus working his way up towards that, but I think Bin with enough time should be able to just chunk that tower down. It will be BLG's second of the game. Zeus there to respond. Shen pathing towards top as well. The pressure perhaps towards them, but it's this game of this ebb and flow where Faker pushes out bot, he then goes into the fog of war, Knight has to answer, so BLG realize, well, we can't force a play because Faker's always going to be able to respond first. Knight answers the bottom side, then TP's back in, so now BLG have the impetus to put a bit of pressure back down onto the map.
I mean, Faker recognized the TP came out of mid, immediately pings back towards bot, wants to push out another wave, says someone has to come and catch this. It's Bin that's going to be forced to go back to base to head towards bot because he's the one that has his TP available. They're going to send Knight now over to the top side of the map, but the problem is you've now got your TP-less mid laner on the top side with Dragon spawning in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So with the push they've been able to get on bot, Faker gets a quick base off and he's already back out onto the map. T1 are going to have set up for this Dragon, and I feel like BLG's just going to force to concede it.
Yeah, BLG, they need to open up the map more so they can start to make use of some split pushing and some Kai'Sa ultimate follow-ups. And so they do have everybody hovering on top side. They were thinking about trying to finish off that outer tower. They don't want to overextend too early for it, though.
I think that they should commit to it, though. T1's obvious play next should be towards the Dragon. They've set up good vision towards it, and Knight knows that he doesn't have TP and he's on the top side of the map. They will spot out Faker as Bin and Zeus go back and forth on the trades, but you're seeing how effective this Gragas is.
Cosmic Drive Fimbulwinter is doing a lot of work here. They get the knockback as well. Keria with the steadfast presence position is here to try and help out his top laner. That Fimbulwinter Cosmic Drive combination is causing a lot of headache for Bin.
That and the phase rush, some very useful tools for Gragas to always keep you at arm's length or belly's length in his case. Meanwhile, Knight did end up finishing off that outer tower, that extra gold that they wanted in payment for the Dragon. So they still got a bit of what they wanted. BLG kind of giving up the minimum amount here in order to still get some trade back.
Ultimately, yeah, I think it's the best trade for them rather than try and force the fight around the Dragon at this point in the game, especially when you know that Elk still hasn't even completed his second item. Meanwhile, Gumayusi, Infinity Edge. Such a powerful item spike for the Zion.
Elk just finishes his Ginsus, as you say that statement, Betty. There is 2 items on the Kai'Sa, but she scales up so well as the game goes on. When they get towards the time when that W is just artillery more than anything else.
And there's so many things that he has to consider when he's going in for it. You know, he's playing against, like you said, the Poppy plus Galio plus Xin Zhao and even Gragas. So BLG definitely going to be looking to control some vision first so that actually they can be the ones to try and set up some picks.
Now, in Game 4, you said with confidence that you don't expect the game to end in 27 minutes. I feel like this game isn't going to end in 27 minutes. With how tense it's been so far, with clear win conditions laid out for both sides, the 4th Dragon of the game is where I expect a lot of action to be happening. In the meantime, both teams are prioritizing farming, looking for outer objectives, and ideally, if either one of them could break open that mid tower, that would be great. But in terms of the siege, I think that it's not easy for either side, given the amount of wave clear that they do have. But that point of tension continues to build up as both of these teams fight for that crucial edge to help determine who will be the 2024 World Champ.
For Elk, for On, for Shun, for Knight, it's their first time here in a Worlds final. Knight has fallen short a couple of times in the past for T1. Obviously, they were here last year. They've been here 3 years in a row. Weren't able to win it in 2022, but in 23, they dominated Weibo. They dominated the LPL. Managed to take down 4 teams in that year, and now 3 teams in that year. Now, alongside that top esports, looking to add BLG as a name to that list, but BLG have not lost a best of 5 versus T1. They just haven't played them at Worlds before, and here we sit 23 minutes in on a knife edge between these two titans.
Reminder how close BLG was without Knight. The whole idea behind bringing Knight into this roster was to help push them over the edge, to give them that last bit of power needed to get them to where they are today. They've ultimately built this roster to get to this point against, as Azael said on the desk, possibly the greatest roster that League has ever seen in history with their continued international dominance.
Meanwhile, the T1 roster here. Legends already with making 3 World Finals in a row, looking to win 2 back-to-back. And we get the side lanes traded. Jax on bottom side, Galio on the top side. Mid lane waves traded back and forth as we just build and build to this crescendo of pressure in our final game of the year.
It's crazy that it's all come down to this. So many comfort picks on both sides. The Sunlit Sky now finished for Bin. 2 items finished for him. Junglers starved of gold a little bit, as we often see at the highest level. If they could secure that second item ahead of this crucial fight, that would be absolutely huge. Both now fighting for vision. Resets come through for Zeus. He's making his way back out onto the map. Has the arm guard, a crucial pickup, providing a little bit more durability and just time-wasting potential in the upcoming team fight. Dragon a minute away. We get ever closer to that crucial objective. Armguard also finished for Knight. The bot wave pushed in. Elk not yet completed that Nash's Tooth, meaning he's not quite at the point of that consistent poke that we often see from the Kai'Sa.
He's almost there. Has the blasting wand, has an amp tome as well. Gumayusi on the other side, sitting on a Zeal alongside his IE in the Essence Reaver. It feels like one of those games where a single fight's going to decide it, you know? As soon as a team starts snowballing, it's a Drake into a Baron, into a few towers, into a gold explosion. And I think that's why we see both teams so tentative about making that play. Obviously, no neutrals really up apart from the Baron for them to fight over right now, but there's a lot of this bouncing waves back and forth without really finding purchase.
And the first step before T1 can go take this dragon is they have to secure vision on the Baron. Because of the Rage Blade being completed for Kai'Sa, you can actually burn through Barons and neutral objectives very quickly. And so that's why we just saw these last like 30 seconds, 40 seconds of T1 really trying to make sure that they will have an early alert system if BLG try and do a cross-map play on them.
Bin ticking over to level 15. Zeus sticking around very deep in the bot lane because he's got full information as to where all 4 of the members of BLG are. Poke back and forth over the control wards, but the vision will be denied from T1.
Critical defense of their vision here from BLG.
And then T1 immediately fight back. They reclaim control over that space. Control ward still sitting in the inventory of Keria, but crucially, none left for BLG. I'm sure On would love to get a quick reset off, but I don't know if he's going to be given the time to do so. Pings coming down from the side of T1 of the bot side jungle.
Zeus finds On, Shadowing Strike going in, the crash down as well. Bin looking for the follow-up here onto Zeus, the hero's entrance, and On just oversteps. Gumayusi sends him back to the fountain, and now BLG have to play a 4v5 if they want to try and contest. I think their decision will be not to. They'll just back away, clear out their own jungle, but On went in on Zeus, and T1 immediately collapsed.
Again, T1, they're so confident, and we're like, they've got the Galio ult to back them up. Zeus is very tanky. They were not worried for a second during that pick. On definitely bit off way more than he could chew, and that is a 100% sacrifice of the dragon, of the objective. Critically, it is just putting T1 to that soul point and not breaking the game quite yet.
Gumayusi picking up the Phantom Dancer, immediately swapping it over for the Navori Flicker Blade. Help securing that kill, giving him a nice injection of gold. You can hear the support from T1 from the crowd. The BLG supporters ever present in the arena as well.
You have to believe that T1 are very confident in their team fight and their strong setup here.
I mean, why wouldn't you with how strong Gumayusi is?
And so that's why maybe you see BLG wanting to rush into some picks whenever they see anyone, because they do kind of feel that unspoken mounting pressure facing them.
You can feel as well, just kind of on the map how T1 is slowly but surely beginning to gain more control. BOG feels like that they're being pushed back even further onto their side of the map. And T1 remaining calm. Of course, this game is far from over just yet. That deciding fight is yet to happen. All summoner spells are available for everyone on the Rift, TPs included. The next dragon still a ways away after T1 secured that mid-tier 1 from BLG. The Baron becomes a very scary point of contention for both sides.
How exciting is it that our entire year of professional League of Legends is going to be condensed down to presumably a big fight now to break open the entire series and determine the world champion.
It's just absurd, and for the players down there as well, that weight on your shoulders.
I'm nervous, and I'm not even playing.
It's just monumental. It's not just you, it's not just your team, it's your fans, it's your family, it's your region that have supported you through thick and thin. And
this moment, Oner very close here.
Pressure on you, Shadowing Strike going wide. Shun tries to dash across the wall, but immediately he's locked up, goes in with the Cataclysm. Gumayusi pops a Feather Storm. Oner looking to re-engage onto Shun down to half HP. Ben gets onto the back line, Gumayusi cleanses away, but Ben has already put him in the dirt. Keria is next up. BLG find 2, T1 able to back away for the moment, but the TP behind by Ben as he looks for a little bit more.
Oh, they go back in!
Baker flashes in, and down goes Knight! Once again, when you need someone, when you need anyone to stand up and show just what this game's all about, it's Baker! He finds another T1 5-5, and alongside it, the Baron in their minds!
The hero's entrance was true to its name as Faker in T1's dire moment descends from the sky, and T1 turned the fight in their favor.
The crown may be heavy, but it belongs to Faker, and they're gonna pick up the Baron. What a turnaround! BLG had started out so well. They killed Gumayusi. They had them on the run, but the turn from T1 was better.
The flank that comes in from Bin to follow up the engage from Jun, and crucially you're gonna see a charm come through from Knight that forces Gumayusi's flash. You think that the combination between Knight and Bin is enough? Taking out Gumayusi should have been the key. So look, the ultimate comes in from Chun onto Gumayusi. He's gonna ulti because he has no choice, he has to in this situation. And then the charm from Knight there forces the flash from Gumayusi. Bin sees the angle, so he flashes, sidesteps the knockback, and he's able to work with ult to get the kill. And at this point you think the fight is over.
Exactly, then they're on the chase. Knight goes, he just barely doesn't have the range on his charm onto Oner, and they're teleporting for the pincer, but just as they're teleporting and Bin has to walk back to the fight, that's when T1 turned.
Such fantastic play and such confidence. The TP, the awareness from T1 to realize that that TP was a mistake, and then to create the collapse to turn it in their favor. Unbelievable turnaround from T1.
Teleport, the 4-second channel time, and T1 strike. Wait a second, topside, Zeus under fire!
Zeus caught out, killer instinct in by Elk. BLG collapsing, 4 members strong, the hero's entrance.
Oh, Zeus!
Baker joins the fight! Elk with the stopwatch, Baker in the middle of them all, and it seems like death may have arrived, and his name is Baker! He's here for your lives! The rest of T1 begins to collapse, Baker's gonna fall, as he pulls the stopwatch, manages to buy himself a second. Oner here to save his mid laner once again, and Baker still stands! He has ascended! He stands above it all! And he looks hungrily at that world's trophy!
The unkillable Demon King! Unkillable one more time!
Unbelievable once more! How does he keep doing it? I mean, with the Baron buff, 4 members dead, it's only Knight left to defend his base. His crumbling kingdom at the hands of T1, an inhibitor will fall, and T1 set their sights on the Nexus.
Knight goes in with the Spirit Rush, lands the charm as well. The first Nexus tower's fallen, and T1 are just looking for the prize. They're hungry for it. T1 are the past, the present, and the future. A new era, the same empire. T1 are your 2024 World Champions.
3 World Finals in a row for this roster. 2 of them victories, Vedius. Crazy accomplishments from this entire T1 roster.
And just the way that that game ended, for Faker to make the plays that he did, he is the GOAT for a reason. And this will be his 5th World Championship title. We are witnessing such a legendary resurgence from T1. A new era for T1 and an incredible performance.
Please keep that roster together again. That right there is the new T1 dynasty. Heartbreaking for BLG to be so close.
In the end, Faker said it best, you've got to prove it. That's what you like when you face T1, when you face the best in the world, the defending champs, you've got to prove it. And today it was T1 that proved it. A trophy ceremony presented by Mercedes-Benz. They will hoist the Summoners Cup. I can't think of 5 players that deserve it more.
From 4th seed in the LCK, 1 game away from not even qualifying to the World Championship, to making it all the way to the final, a full 5-game banger. They will lift the Summoners Cup once more.
Oh, those steps must feel so sweet. A 5-game banger, as you say, Betty. T1 take to the main stage, and they deserve every accolade that is bandied towards them. It's back-to-back. London, Europe, the world, give it up. It's T1, your 2024 world champions once more.
Baker said, "This one's for you."
I think it's a little bit for them as well.
A little bit.